Oh, all this Corona. All
Here
right,
we
we're
are.
recording. We're recording. Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Action. Hey,
Hello,
you, how's it going? How we
Shauno, how
doing?
are we doing? You good?
Yeah, good. I love that we counted that one down, and it was very not smooth.
It was seamless.
I was gonna say it was. We were talking over each other. I gave us a countdown, so we were ready, and I think we just need to do better in the future.
Yeah, but check the enthusiasm. That was up several notches.
Enthusiasm's up.
By the way, I'm feeling a lot better this week. I rewatched our hazards, and I could just hear it in my voice, like how nasally I was, and some of my answers were quite short. I wasn't feeling 100% last week, but I'm back on it this week, Sean. Whilst I have gained in energy and health, I can see you are hatless for the first one. So I'm interested to see what our 9 subscribers think of that.
I know. I remember. Well, you were talking earlier. We were talking about this earlier this week that you were watching a Tim Ferriss podcast, and Hugh Jackman was on, and Hugh Jackman said he was a big fan. And I was just thinking, how many celebrities follow us out of the 9? Or how many of those are celebrities?
Most.
I would think it's an exclusive
at least
group.
6. Yeah, at least 6.
That's counting the 2 subscribers you and I account for.
We account for 2.
So there's one. So there's one non-subscriber that's not famous.
And I've also been checking daily, Sean. No, that's an exaggeration. I've been checking weekly for that 10th subscriber. That 7th celebrity, just to kind of nip us over to the double figures. That's a little benchmark there, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I think we need to keep that in mind here. That we should do something when we hit 10. I think it is. We've been stuck on 9 for a while. So I may use this as the beginning for the next one. By the way, because very good opening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I may cut that in.
Yeah, cut that in, and I think that we maybe should do the next one topless or something. Take it on from the hat.
We can do
work our way down.
Make sure the camera's a little bit more above the nip line for me. So on to the Batman review. So Hugh, this week we will be looking at the original Batman TV series, as it was your turn to pick. And just to give you a quick overview on Batman, so this was the original 1960s Batman. So it meets the vintage prerequisite in our vintage reviews. Batman is a 1960s American live action television series based on the DC comic book character of the same name. It stars Adam West as Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Burt Ward as Dick Grayson, Robin. 2 crime-fighting heroes who defend Gotham City from a variety of arch villains. It is also known for its camp-style, upbeat theme music and its intentionally humorous, simplistic morality aimed at its largely teenage audience. I actually didn't realize that I think thinking to the 60s, I wouldn't know what would be marketable to teens. And I know that I watched it as not a teenager, but as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. When did you start watching it?
Yeah, I mean, likewise, I would have been obviously 10 years on from you being an older man. But yeah, I watched it probably at a similar age, very, very early in my television watching days, actually. And quite interestingly brought up the word camp, because that did come through, and I wouldn't have realized they would have kind of publicized and maybe pushed that part of it. But yes, it definitely was camp. And the fact that the comedic value. So I have not seen this in that since I was maybe 6. So I am so excited to see how good stroke bad this is. And the fact that they're highlighting the fact it's comedy and camp, I just makes me want to watch even more.
Well, I haven't really thought about when I last watched it, and that is a good point, because I think I last watched it when I was properly watched it when I was, not a child, but maybe even in my teens. I watched it when I was a bit more naive to some of the jokes they were making. So I think it's kind of cool that we're watching something in a different lens, which we have been. I mean, I think that's part of what these vintage reviews are. It's us looking at things in a totally different landscape now. So this included championing the importance of using seat belts, doing homework, eating vegetables, and drinking milk. I never really picked up on that.
Neither did I.
It was described by executive producer William Dozier as the only situation comedy on the air without a laugh track. So again, I didn't realize this was a comedy at the time.
I didn't realize that.
I thought it was just, this is the 60s and this is how they did sort of, it was, to me, I thought it was meant to look like a comic at the time, not necessarily a comedy. But again, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Well, Adam West is the actor. Adam West is the voice for Mayor. What's his name on Family Guy? I can't
Mayor West. Mayor Adam West.
Mayor West. He is Adam West on that. That's right.
He passed away a couple of years ago, I think.
That's right. And Adam West is hilarious. He's a really funny bloke. So it'd be interesting to see how much of that he kind of pulls through on this.
So they had 120 episodes aired on the ABC network for 3 seasons from January 12th, 1966 to March 14th, 1968. That's a hell of a lot of episodes over 3 years.
Yeah.
Twice weekly for the first 2 and weekly for the third. In 2016, television critics Alan Sepinwall and Matt Zoller Seitz ranked Batman as the 82nd greatest American television show of all time. First, that's our territory.
That's an accolade.
But that's something that, leave that to us. All right.
Yeah.
They don't decide whether it's 82nd. Right now,
we'll be the judge.
It could be 1 in 4. We'll see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay. So that's the general overview. I don't think we need to go into too much detail on what Batman is. I think we both know the storyline of Batman. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I actually should have worn my Batman shirt today. So I think without further ado, we may as well just jump on into it.
Let's do it.
All right. And Hugh, action for Batman.
We join Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara taking in a Gotham prison softball game in which the Joker is pitching. Pairing it up, throwing 10-mile-per-hour lollipops to prisoners who seem to have absolutely no depth perception whatsoever. After a quick change of ball, the Joker throws a strike to the one batter on the team with 2 eyes and the coordination of an able-bodied person, who makes contact, unveiling an explosive ball, masking Joker's escape. Commissioner Gordon gets straight on the bat phone to call the Caped Crusader. Alfred, answering, confirms Batman and Robin are en route, interrupting a piano lesson and an afternoon of relaxing in their most comfortable shirt and tie. After confirming the Joker escaped via airmail, Commissioner Gordon shows the masked duo a papier-mâché bust of the Joker, which was found under the pitcher's mound, which doesn't seem to fit. Batman cleverly figures out it is a clue left by the Joker, which lead Batman and Robin to the local museum. On arrival at the museum, Batman and Robin negotiate their first challenge, a no parking sign. After a quick chat with the museum security guard, Batman and Robin find nothing and learn the museum is absolutely impenetrable from the outside. As Batman leaves, the museum closes and we then see Joker and his crew come out from hiding behind statues that look strangely like the people who are hiding behind them, bringing into question the thoroughness of the investigative prowess of Batman and Robin. They were literally behind the statues. Just before leaving the scene, Batman recalls the security guard saying,
"Once I get these doors locked, the museum is burglar-proof,"
and then breaks into the museum with a small metal pick. A scuffle ensues, Batman is knocked down, but he is faking it and uses his utility belt, takes control, and the Joker escapes. In the next scene, Joker, who was whining about being defeated by Batman's utility belt, unveils his own utility belt which he's created, and has a plan to finally take Batman and Robin down for good. Following a successful mission, hiding in plain sight, we find Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson hobnobbing with Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara in Commissioner Gordon's office. What we can only assume is the Joker throws a creepy clown doll through the window of the Commissioner's office. Clown doll is tied up and is rather freaky looking. Chief O'Hara, showing years of experience, assume it's the Joker, and instead of chasing him or sending people out to get him, says, "Fuck it, that's weird." Bruce Wayne, on his way out the door, asks if he can take the doll with him, which is in no way weird, and Chief O'Hara, instead of dusting for prints or investigating or doing anything a police officer would do, says, "Yeah, sure." Back to the Batcave, Batman and Robin are investigating the doll using a hyper spectrograph analyzer, where they learn fuck all about the doll. By the way, Batman and Robin are in their full regalia. I appreciate they are working from home, but you'd think they would own a pair of sweatpants. I mean, they were sitting in a suit and tie in the lounge earlier, and now they're working from home in the Batcave wearing their uniform. Anyway, Batman connects the doll to an Italian opera, which is fronted by a clown, and he believes this is actually the Joker. The next scene, we see the opera clown, who is the goddamn scariest clown I've ever seen on TV. I swear to God. The dynamic duo, believing this is the Joker, make an appearance swinging down from the rafters and are met with some sort of caustic powder that was designed to only affect Batman and Robin, not anyone else around. I mean, the cloud is in everybody's face, literally. Batman and Robin, submitting to the Joker's concoction, are now at the mercy of the Joker and his crew. The Joker moves in very slowly to unveil the identity of the Cape Crusaders, without anyone so much as calling the police or rushing in to help Batman and Robin. Where we are met with the familiar.
Is this the end of their career as crime fighters? Can they avert disaster? Answers tomorrow. Same bat time.
No
same
way.
bat channel.
Forgot all about that part of it.
Oh, I cannot believe that. The crescendo. God.
Oh, gonna have to get the other one, aren't we?
Mate, that was
What do you
brilliant.
think?
I loved that.
Wow. What's on the edge of my seat?
Mate, I thought that was brilliant. I love the whole thing.
I think what I think when I look at this just body of work is, even for the time, I think it's really original. It's extremely original, even with the. Now, I don't know in the 60s. I'm not a film student. I don't know if things like the angled camera where they had the squiffy sideways crooked scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The colors, or even just the way it's acted or portrayed. It's just all very clever in its sort of subtlety.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't really think of it from that angle, mate. And I don't really have much of a frame of reference of comparison, because I don't really recall. Maybe Happy Days, that might have been another show that I watched around that era. I don't even know if that was 60s or not. That might be 50. I don't know. But
I think that was 60s, 50s, 60s.
So that would be really the only comparison that I'd have, because most of my TV was in the 80s, well, even more so than the 70s stuff. But yeah, I don't know how much kind of influence is there from my nostalgia, but I just loved every bit of that. The main actors. So you're talking Joker, Batman, lesser extent Robin, but still Robin. It was just, it was brilliant. And, there are some cringeable little moments in it, as you would kind of expect, like you say, some of the poor acting and stuff. But I actually really love the fact that it's geared as a comedy, because it couldn't really be taken seriously. And I think they kind of, there's tongue in cheek throughout, and I really like that. I actually quite like the shorter episodes as well. It's just a bit more like Family Guy or Simpsons. You kind of rattle through it, but a nice mix of wholeheartedness. You've got that kind of politeness, and we were mentioning on Dukes of Hazzard how it's so nice to go back in time when you're looking back to a more simpler life. Well, this is back further still, like in the 60s. Like you said, that the drunk actor, like in the bar, like he was like the hoodlum, but he was like, dropping some jokes in and that type of thing.
That's beautiful. I always love that song.
But I just really loved the whole thing, and I gutted it finished.
Yeah, it's the style. I think we go back to the narration of it, which was a big win for Dukes of Hazzard, and the way they did it in this, it was very the dramatic reading.
Could this mean curtains? Will the identities of our dynamic duo be revealed to the whole world?
It's those little things that are just very. Everything was just very original. It wasn't mocked up off of anything else. I don't know of any other show that was anything like it. I think it gets a lot of credit, much like, let's say, Dukes of Hazzard did. Because I think if you look at A-Team, there's a lot of things that A-Team, though it's an original show, it's working off of a formula of sorts. And this, it is a crime fighting comedy / action / show that kids can watch and adults can watch, and everybody can get some value out of it. And for me, I don't know of another show that did that to that degree.
No, it was excellent on that end. I mean, it still had its beautiful kind of inconsistencies and stuff, where near the end in our final scene, we see Joker, who's apprehended and he's still laughing and finding it funny, throws with like sneezing dust or something in his own face. And he's fine.
He's fine.
Then you can see the gap between Batman and the dust, and then there's hardly any gap where he is. He's okay, and then
he's in it.
He's still got enough time for Robin. Robin doesn't react as a true crime fighter and grab the arm or run back or punch him or something. He stands there for and then gets it thrown in the face. It's stuff like that. It was just like there's little moments like that I really like. And from going on to the point that you made earlier about the suit and tie during the piano lesson, that just even there's some comfort watching Alfred go and pick up the phone, coming in, the way he's dressed in that butler kind of outfit and the good old days, the way he's kind of approaching the phone in his telephone manner, stuff like that. I don't know. I really enjoyed watching that.
I think with Batman too, you look at and I love with this show, I love the inconsistencies to a degree. So Bruce Wayne has a very distinct voice. It's a very good speaking voice.
Amazing voice. Yeah.
And Batman has an equally good speaking voice. And Batman and Bruce Wayne hang out with the same people. And this is something I think people talked about, watching the show previously. It was probably a bit of a recurring joke that it's similar to Superman in his disguise. Batman and Robin are equally easy to pick out because it's Batman, Dick and Bruce are always hanging out together in that show.
On that side as well.
Yeah, same stature.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and the Batman, you could almost, because it's like they're and above. So the voice is the biggest giveaway. You're absolutely right. But on Robin's side, he's just got something covering his eyes. You can see his side parted, which is exactly the same. You can see the rest of his face, his teeth, how he talks. So it's a bit ridiculous on that end. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was right up there for me.
I would put that high as well. I think where I look at it, when we have things that are, I guess, a bit, what was the word you used? Inconsistencies, I guess. It wasn't the word you used. What did you say? I can't remember.
In reference to inconsistencies.
The sneezing powder and the just the things that didn't quite match up, like Batman being able to break into an unbreakable bank. But I think for me, those are the things I love about it. It is those inconsistencies, those things that create, talking points. And, there's a specific style that goes to it and they own it. So even those inconsistencies, that's part of the whole package. And for me, when it's done purposefully like that, to me, it's a masterpiece in many regards.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like it's something quite special to the fact that it is meant to be, and it is kind of comedy, and it just enhances the enjoyment of the whole thing. And if it would if it was pitched more seriously, and they're trying to be serious with the fight scenes and how they get out and everything, it would really lose its edge. You'd find it funny, but the fact that they're trying to be funny is, that's their intention behind it, makes all the difference for me.
And I think Adam West, his acting specifically, his deadpan, straight-faced delivery of every line, I think is absolutely excellent. And it carries the show for his character.
I mean, talk about chocolate voice. He's one voice I may have to concede right now. Like his voice is just unbelievable. It's so authoritative and intelligent and soothing and confident, and it's exactly how you'd want a superhero to talk, isn't it? Like the confidence they give, and he kind of commands that position.
He's good at acting like he's thinking too, which we've seen. You can see he's yes, that's not quite right.
Yeah.
Break in, maybe you could break out.
I loved even that when he expresses, Joker expressed that to the camera and then walks in real time, but in slow motion, laughing as he's kind of like going closer with the hand out. It's brilliant.
It's like, this is the speed too.
Yeah. Just tell me when you finish talking, then I will reach out. Yeah.
By the way, what the fuck is up with the citizens of Gotham? Joker didn't have any weapons. He had 2 henchmen holding him down after they were incapacitated by sneezing powder. And you couldn't find one of the 100 people in the audience to, storm the stage and maybe help Batman and Robin out. The camera work kept going. Whomever was working that camera was getting good angles. It was almost as if it was staged.
Because he has no special power, does he? It's just that he's a nutcase, but there's nothing. He's not like super strong, or he doesn't have anything particularly on him, any weapons or up from the sneezing powder. But why would you be intimidated by him?
Well, Joker can handle himself. We saw him go toe to toe with Batman, and he got. I would say he got the equal number of licks in.
He probably did. Yeah, that's probably fair.
He hasn't used the utility belt yet, though.
No, but it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, part 2, Sean.
I know.
Part 2. I think we would be seeing that.
That is you know what for me also made it the fact that we were both really let down that was the end of it.
We were both gutted.
Yeah. I was worried that maybe they were going to be unmasked. Well, I say for me, why don't we let's just review where we are. Yeah, we need to give a score. So before I put it on the screen, the best one so far was Miami Vice at an 8.7. And that was very good for very different reasons. A-Team 8.25 and Dukes of Hazzard was a slightly disappointing 7.5. For me, I would say between an 8.7 and a 9. I think it's a scotch. It's right around Miami Vice for me. But I would say, as far as it being, it's more iconic. And I think as far as being ahead of its time, it's not even just it's ahead of its time. It's so original for its time. Whereas you could say Miami Vice was making a somewhat a procedural drama, a film piece. So for me, I'm going to say sort of in the 8.8. I'm going to say.
Yeah, solid, mate. I'm kind of on a similar line to you. If you're looking at Miami Vice at 8.7, then it's a different cut. It's a different type of program, and it was engrossing and it was enjoyable. But this was engrossing in a totally different way, and I enjoyed it far more. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going up tops because I loved it. And backing up the reasons that you stated there, the acting, the originality, and hands up, there's some nostalgia bias in there as well. I loved that. And I may even watch more episodes now because I've seen that one.
So 8.9, I gave it an 8.8, which was one rung above Miami Vice. I think it's and you gave it a 9. I think that's a solid score. I'm curious to see what's going to cause us to crack into the 9s because that was very good. But I think for me, and I think it's fair to put it just above Miami Vice because Miami Vice is very original for what it delivered at the time, and I think you can define Batman as a very different TV show in the same way. So I think it is slightly better cut above that. I think 8.9, good score for me. I'm happy with that. You happy?
Oh, totally. I think for me, although I gave it a 9, I think maybe having a wrapped up episode would have just been the difference maker. Having something to the end, just seeing where Bruce Wayne then goes to the commissioner after and they're talking and it's all wrapped up and all, happily ever after type thing. That might have just capped it off. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, we need to be fair to Miami Vice, where we watched the whole, just the first of a 2-parter.
I agree.
I think we need to do the same with Batman, but that, if anything, I think that does not hurt its score, given how excited we were to see what happened next. So we got to figure out what we're going to do next week now.
Oh, well, look, I picked Batman this week, mate. So I think it's only fair it goes back to yourself. Do you have any ideas?
Do you think we need to go back to something? It doesn't have to be serious, but something a little bit less. So we did Dukes of Hazzard and Batman, which are of a similar ilk. In many respects, actually, with the narration and some of the theatrical acting in it. That's a good question. What should we do?
So we've got Magnum PI. We talked about there's Baywatch, Knight Rider. Is it Airwolf?
Why don't we do? So one I haven't watched too much of is Magnum PI. I've only maybe seen a half an episode. So maybe we find a Magnum PI, and that'll be the show that we're doing. One I've not watched much of at all.
Let's do it. Yeah,
all right,
perfect.
So next week, Magnum PI, and here we go. So we have, just to summarize, we have Batman in the lead with an 8.9, Miami Vice 8.7, The A-Team 8.25, and Dukes of Hazzard 7.5. So we'll have to see where we end up next week. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this abbreviated version, as it's an abbreviated show we were watching of vintage reviews. Next week, we've got Magnum PI. Just want to make sure that you are following along. If you would like to follow us on Twitter and Periscope, it's Bearded Philoso 1. Facebook, which I'm very attentive to, Bearded Philosophy. And I'm going to be starting an Instagram page soon. Well, I mean, I've started it, but we're going to start posting on it pretty soon. It might be, I might put something on this week about Batman and Magnum PI.
Stay tuned to that.
I know. Just keep an eye out. If we get a follower on Instagram, then I might actually have to expedite that posting a bit earlier, because we have people that are watching.
Can't have them waiting. No.
Yeah. Right now we have 0 followers on Instagram. So I think,
why? It's odd though. It's strange.
I think I'm starting to think we might need to post something to get some sort of attention on Instagram.
Is that what they need?
Possibly.
So they need something from us to follow us. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of being, overly reactive. So I just, that's my sense right now, but I need to get more data in before we really push that thing out.
We need to assess the data a little bit more. Sit back.
Yeah.
Just take our time. And when we feel it's right, then I think we'll know when it's the right time.
Well, Hugh, thank you so much. We're going to be heading on to the after show, our weekly chat. Really enjoyed that one, and looking forward to catching up next week. If you enjoy watching this, our shows are just getting better and better every week. So please like and subscribe. And if you want to comment, please do. We will be very reactive to comments. If you want to ask any questions, or you have any feedback on what episodes we should be watching next. Even if you disagree with one of our reviews, I think we're open to giving another episode a shot. If, let's say, you want us to check out a different episode of Batman or Dukes of Hazzard or A-Team or whatever we're going to say, if you feel we haven't represented those episodes, so that may be a direction we can go as well if we get feedback. So thank you, everybody, and look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.
See ya.
See ya.